The year is 1945, but the world doesn't cheer. No parades mark the end of a global conflict. Instead, a chilling silence falls across Europe, a silence heavy with dread. The Nazis, against all odds, have triumphed. The United States, crippled by a late entry into the war and a devastating blow to its Pacific Fleet, sues for a negotiated peace. The terms are brutal, the price of defeat steep. Britain, battered but unbroken, stands defiant, an island fortress staring down a continent painted in the crimson of the swastika. But the fight is gone, the hope extinguished. Imagine, if you will, a world where the monstrous ideology of the Third Reich reigns supreme. With the fall of London, a negotiated if bitter peace is reached with a battered but still defiant Great Britain. The United States, reeling from the devastation of a sneak attack that crippled its Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor and a late entry into the European theater, finds itself in an unsettling stalemate with the Nazi war machine. The result, a world divided. A line drawn in the Atlantic, separating the defeated from the dominion of the Third Reich. Across Europe, the Nazis set about consolidating their power, their grip tightening like a vice on the throat of the conquered continent. From the icy plains of Russia to the sun-drenched shores of the Mediterranean, the swastika becomes an inescapable symbol of oppression. The conquered nations, stripped of their sovereignty, are forced to pay tribute to their Nazi overlords, their resources plundered, their economies enslaved. Yet, even in this environment of oppression, the human spirit endures. Imagine waking up each morning to the chilling sounds of a Nazi anthem blaring from loudspeakers. Imagine a world where every aspect of your life, from the clothes you wear to the books you read, is dictated by the iron fist of the Reich. This is the stark reality for millions living under Nazi rule, a suffocating existence devoid of freedom or individuality. Children are indoctrinated from a young age, taught to worship Hitler as a god, and to embrace the twisted ideology of the Nazi regime. Those deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime, Jews, Roma, homosexuals, political dissidents, face a far grimmer fate. Yet even within this oppressive system, glimmers of defiance persist. With unlimited resources and a singular focus on global domination, Nazi Germany's scientific advancements take a dark and terrifying turn. The perverse minds of the Reich, unrestrained by ethical considerations, delve into the darkest corners of scientific exploration. Imagine a chilling scenario where the skies are darkened not by storm clouds, but by fleets of advanced Luftwaffe aircraft. Driven by a monstrous ideology that places Aryan supremacy above all else, the regime's scientists conduct horrific experiments on those deemed inferior. The development of weapons of mass destruction becomes a terrifying possibility. In this nightmare scenario of a Nazi victory, the world becomes a stage for the Reich's grand and terrifying social experiment. The goal, the creation of a new world order, built on the foundation of Aryan supremacy and absolute obedience to the Nazi ideology. The tools of this transformation, propaganda, indoctrination, and ruthless suppression of any and all dissent. Imagine a world where every newspaper, every radio broadcast, every film reel is carefully crafted to reinforce the Nazi worldview. Children are ripped from their families and forced into programs designed to mold them into perfect little Nazis. Fear and suspicion become the norm, as neighbors are encouraged to inform on one another. The arts, once a vibrant expression of the human spirit, are contorted into tools of propaganda. Even in this dystopian world, cloaked in the suffocating darkness of Nazi tyranny, the human spirit, that eternal flame, refuses to be extinguished. All across the globe, in the shattered remnants of once free nations, pockets of resistance flicker and flare. These are the stories of the brave few, the defiant hearts who dare to stand against the Nazi war machine. Imagine the hushed whispers in the dead of night, the clandestine meetings in darkened basements, the coded messages passed from hand to hand. From the French countryside to the Polish forests, resistance fighters, armed with whatever they can scavenge, strike from the shadows. Every act of sabotage, every life saved, every message of defiance represents a victory against seemingly insurmountable odds. Thankfully, the horrific reality of a Nazi-dominated world remains just that, a hypothetical nightmare. The Allied victory in World War II, hard-fought and soaked in the blood of millions, stands as a testament to the indomitable human spirit and the enduring power of freedom. Imagine instead the joyous celebrations that erupted across the globe as news of the Nazi defeat spread. The relief, the elation, the knowledge that the nightmare was finally over. The Allied victory was not just a military triumph, it was a victory for democracy, for human rights, for the very soul of humanity. As we reflect on the horrors of a Nazi victory averted, let us never forget the sacrifices made by those who fought and died to preserve our freedoms. Even though the specter of a Nazi victory was thankfully banished to the realm of alternate history, the lessons to be learned from this dark hypothetical remain as relevant as ever. For within this exploration of a world consumed by hate and tyranny lie vital truths about the fragility of freedom, the seductive nature of power, and the constant need for vigilance. The ease with which seemingly civilized societies can succumb to the allure of extremism. The seductive whispers of us versus them, the willingness to trade freedom for security. As we grapple with the resurgence of nationalist sentiment, the rise of authoritarian leaders and the ever-present threat of intolerance, the echoes of that dark past serve as a stark reminder of what we stand to lose. The lessons of this alternate history are not meant to instill fear, but rather to empower us. The exploration of this alternate timeline, this chilling what-if scenario, serves as a stark reminder of the importance of remembrance and vigilance in our own time. We must never forget the horrors of the Nazi regime, the millions of lives extinguished, the countless dreams shattered. For to forget the past is to risk repeating it, to allow the seeds of extremism and division to take root once more. We must also be vigilant, ever watchful for the signs of intolerance and oppression, ready to raise our voices in defense of those whose rights are threatened. Let us build a world where the darkness of the past is never forgotten, but rather serves as a beacon, guiding us towards a brighter future.